If you clicked on this video, that means you are an aspiring college student, recently got accepted into a college, or you are currently in college and you're just trying to play catch up. Either way, welcome. Most college advice videos that I see or are kind of popular usually discuss or say things like, oh, this is why you should bring a Keurig and why that's so important, or these are the types of highlighters that you're gonna need. Not that those aren't great, but personally, I never saw those super effective, and I am here to give you the nitty-gritty advice. First of all, to kind of preface the advice that I'm giving, I took a little bit of a non-conventional path through college. I'm currently in my second semester of my final year, but after my sophomore year of high school, I got accepted into an early college program, and I was in that for 3 years. And when I finished with my high school diploma, my associates, and an advanced certificate. Then I was able to transfer to a 4-year university. I'm on the last semester of a 2-year journey there, and now I'm about to graduate and kind of looking at grad schools, but that's where I'm at right now. First things first, usually the first thing that people think about when considering going to college or trying to pick out colleges is if they are going to go to community college or if they are going to go straight to a 4-year university. Almost every college student is faced with this decision, and I think there are definitely a lot of pros and cons surrounding both options. To start out with community college, I think the biggest pro by far and the biggest thing that is kind of talked about to aspiring students is that if you go to community college, you will save so much money. You will save so much money on classes, the credit hours are so much cheaper. Most people usually go to community college that are close to their home, so you'll be able to stay at home, save on living expenses. You won't really have to pay for much food if that's something that your family kind of provides for you. Plus, if you're working a part-time job or something like that and you save up your money, odds are you will be leaving community college with 0 to no debt. This is something that I did. Because I was in an early college program, I did get some funding from them, but I did work the entire time that I was in community college, and I left community college with no debt, and I think this is something that is very doable. A lot of people that go to community college can still get different grants, scholarships, and plus on top of working, you're probably not going to go into as much debt going to community college as you would if you started at a 4-year university. Another pro that I wasn't really told about that comes with going to community college is that if you finish with your associates and transfer to a 4-year university, you can potentially make more money at any jobs or internships that you get once you are at your 4-year university. Not everyone that attends community college finishes or transfers out of community college with an associate's, but if you do go to community college, I would highly recommend, because that's what I did. I finished with my associates and then I transferred to a 4-year university, and almost every student position or internship that I have had that was related to my associates has respected the fact that I have had that credential and that I have that degree, and has paid me more money compared to maybe a student employee that they would have, or an intern that they would have that doesn't have an associate's. These were 2 huge benefits that I had from going to community college, but even though I am very happy with my decision, sometimes I really understand the benefit of going to a 4-year university for your entire 4 years of college. One of the big things that I experienced after transferring to my 4-year university is that I really felt like I had to play catch up when getting involved with things that would later fill out my resume. For me, being a film production major, my community college had some opportunities to get involved with that kind of correlated with my major, but not a whole lot of options. And I feel like a lot of students that go to community college may face that, is that they don't have like the internship or the club opportunities that they might have at a four-year university. Once I transferred to my four-year university, I had to spend a lot of time really kind of working on things to get involved with so I could kind of catch up on, I don't want to say the lost time that I had at community college, but you know, I wanted to have a more competitive resume. I wanted to be a more competitive student. So with that, I really had to get involved once I got to my four-year university. Another thing to consider when looking for opportunities or different things to put on your resume is that longevity in maintaining those positions or being part of those student organizations for a longer duration of time does, I think, really speak volumes to different employers or different places you might be applying to. And if you do go from a community college to a university, a lot of times the student organizations or internships or different opportunities that you will hold will kind of cap out around 2 years, because if you're at a community college for 2 years and then a university for 2 years, the longest you may be looking at is 2 years. And I think having something, if you could manage to have something for all 4 years, that may read a little better than having multiple things that you only have for 2 years. Even though going to community college and having an associate's has made me stand out a little bit against my peers at my four-year university, I do think there is a lot of value in being in one environment for 4 years and kind of being able to focus on your growth within that 4 years and all of the different opportunities that you can have in one place and be able to maintain for the entire time that you are at a four-year university. Also, another thing that kind of adds to the benefits of being in a four-year university is four-year universities are usually bigger, are usually more well-known, and usually come with better networking opportunities. As someone that is going into the media field, I think this has been kind of spoken at me a lot more than maybe some other majors, but regardless, networking is something that is so important no matter your major, and I think that it's a little easier, or you might have some more success doing this at a four-year university. Moving on to choosing a major. Because of the early college, I kind of had to commit to a major, or I had to choose a major when I was at the ripe age of 16. I did not realize how much of a blessing this was, but I always knew what I wanted to do. I always knew I wanted to go into film production, but I know a lot of people will not know what they want to do and kind of commit to a major because they think they want to do it, and then as they progress through school, they might not like it and may be faced with the decision of changing your major. Changing your major within your first year or two may not be that big of a deal, but if you are looking at doing it in your third or fourth year, this can prolong the time that you are in college, that you are at a university, and overall it can make your education a little more expensive. So if you are on the fence about your major or even what field you are going into, I think it is perfectly acceptable to just go into college as undecided. I know a lot of college applications have you pick your major on your application or kind of have you apply as a certain major. If you can choose undecided and you are truly undecided, pick that, do that. I think a lot of places talk down being an undecided or an undeclared major, but until you really know what you want to do, please just be undecided. It will save you so much stress later if you just take the time to think about it, reflect, look at the world around you, take advantages of different opportunities, and really figure out what you want to do before you commit to something. Your education will be so much less stressful. I think this can also kind of play into your decision of whether you want to go to community college or university. If you know the field that you want to go into, but you maybe just don't know specifically what you want to do, going to a four-year university, you will have a lot of opportunities to explore different things and explore different majors within your field, and I think that might be more of a better choice. However, if you have no idea what you want to do, it may be better to go to community college and to pursue more of a general studies degree, and there you will have more time to think about what you want to do, explore different things, think about different majors, and overall you'll just be saving yourself a lot more time and money down the road. Moving on to managing school and homework. The biggest thing that I have to say about managing schoolwork and homework is to invest in a planner. Invest in a planner as soon as possible, preferably before the year starts. If you don't already know, your first week of college or the first week of each semester is usually known as syllabus week, and this is where your professor will take the time to just go through your syllabus, go through the course schedule, and talk about any major assignments, maybe every assignment. Regardless, you'll get a very nice course overview and you will get your class schedule with all of your assignments and their due dates. This is where you need to, as soon as possible, write down all of your assignments on the day that they are due or the day that you plan on doing them. This is something that I have been doing since my first year in the early college, and let me tell you, I have never turned in an assignment late due to negligence or due to just simply forgetting. This is something that has saved me every time. If I think an assignment is due, I'll check my planner. If it is, great, I'll do it. If it isn't, even better. For my last semester of college, I did decide to mix things up a little bit by making a Google spreadsheet instead of using a physical planner, because I just found that it was easier to just be able to reference something on my phone than have to look for my planner and do it the old-fashioned way. On this Google spreadsheet, I do include the assignment, what class it's for, the date it's due, the time it's due, and then I leave a little box just to have to check off once I turn in the assignment. Living arrangements and roommates. I think the biggest thing that students want to do when they are exiting high school and transitioning to college in any way is to room with their best friend. I know that going to college with your best friend is super exciting and it may seem ideal to room with them. Even though this is something I never did, I never lived with someone I was best friends with prior to living with, I have seen this go very bad in many cases. A lot of times people are really good friends and get along super well until they have to live with each other, then they kind of see a little too much of each other and things go super bad. I would say that this happens more times than not. To me, I think the ideal roommate, whether you're living in a dorm or an apartment, is to just find someone that you can just coexist with. If you commit to living with someone before you know them super well, do not feel pressured to become their best friend. If you do not become best friends with your roommate, that is totally fine. Some of the best roommates that I have been people that I could simply just coexist with. I have had a lot of roommates that I have become really close with, and that has been very great, and I love that, right? But if that doesn't happen, that's totally fine. Either way, I would say that it is better to room with someone you're not besties with. Moving on to clubs and activities. Getting involved with as many clubs, student activities, student organizations, whatever, is very, very important when you are entering college. Most majors have a lot of student organizations that are kind of affiliated with that major or draw a lot of students from a specific major. Find that organization for your major and get involved with it as soon as possible. Throughout my time at my four-year university, even in community college, I have been involved with student organizations and clubs that were both specific for my major and clubs that were more open and more broad to include a lot of different majors. Both have been amazing experiences and have been great things to add to my resume. If you are going to be attending a four-year university straight out of high school or transferring one after community college, I would recommend looking for these opportunities and looking for these organizations as soon as possible. As soon as you get accepted or as soon as you are kind of interested in going somewhere, look at the opportunities that they offer. I say this because a lot of student organizations won't necessarily be recruiting for the entire year. They may be doing it the summer before the school year starts. They may just be doing it fall semester. They may just be doing it towards the beginning of fall semester. And some of them may even have like a little bit of an application process. Either way, figure out what your desired student organization needs to kind of get involved or get started with, and get on that right away so you can get involved within your first year. Moving on to jobs and internships. Just like student organizations, a lot of campus jobs and internships start recruiting in the summer before school year starts or very early on in the school year. So it is super important to kind of get a feel for what's offered at your university and start applying to these things as soon as possible. I think a lot of students feel as if they don't have to start thinking about internships or different jobs related to their field until their junior or senior year. However, I just highly recommend that you start applying for these things as soon as you begin your freshman year, if not sooner. A lot of these opportunities are super competitive and it may take a while to find an internship you like or to get accepted into an internship, and it is just the worst if you are starting your junior year or kind of wrapping up your junior year, going into your senior year, you still haven't found anything, and then you kind of have to struggle to find something, especially if you're in a major that requires an internship to graduate. Then you're just in a really weird position. And a lot of students that I have met or know have found themselves kind of dealing with this problem. So even if you think you may not get accepted or you may not get interviews or you may not think your resume is like up to where it should be to be applying to places, just do it. You won't lose anything from applying to somewhere that maybe you're not qualified for. I have definitely applied to a lot of things that I thought I wasn't qualified for or I wasn't going to get, and then turns out I got offered an interview and then got offered the position. I think a lot of people will be very surprised by the opportunities that they will have offered to them. They just have to apply to them. With all of that being said, I think the biggest takeaway from this video will be that whether you're attending college or university or whatever your education path looks like, it is most important to be active rather than passive. The most successful students that I know or have met are those that are actively chasing after different opportunities, are those that are the most involved, and are those that are all around just go-getters. If you kind of passively go through college and don't get involved with very much and don't aim to try to achieve very much while you're there, I don't think your experience will be as good as it could have been. If this was helpful and you want more college tips or tricks or anything of that nature, stay tuned and I will see you in the next video.